Simon as well. And then each Holly Black and Tony did to Lindsay put a little note. So Holly Black says, for my grandmother Melvina, who said I should write a book just like this one, and to whom I replied that I never would. Well done, Holly Black, you did it. And Tony did Lindsay says, for Arthur Rackham, may you continue to inspire others as you have me. And this has all the illustrations in the book. So, dear reader, over the years that Tony and I have been friends, we've shared the same childhood fascination with fairies. We did not realise the importance of that bond, or how it might be tested. One day, Tony and I, along with several other authors, were doing a signing at a large bookstore. When the signing was over, we lingered, helping to stack books and chatting until a clerk approached us. He said that there had been a letter left for us. When I inquired which one of us, we were surprised by his answer. Both of you, he said. The letter was exactly as reproduced on the following page. Tony spent a long time just staring at the photocopy that came with it. Then, in a hushed voice, he wondered aloud about the remainder of the manuscript. We hurriedly wrote a note, tucked it back into the envelope, and asked the clerk to deliver it to the Grace children. Not long after, a package arrived on my doorstep, bound in a red ribbon. A few days after that, 3 children rang the bell and told me this story. What has happened since is hard to describe. Tony and I have been plunged into a world we never quite believed in. We now see that fairies are far more than childish stories. There is an invisible world around us, and we hope that you, dear reader, will open your eyes to it. Holly Black. Dear Mrs. Black and Mr. Little Lindsay, I know that a lot of people don't believe in fairies, but I do, and I think that you do too. After I read your books, I told my brothers about you, and we decided to write. We know about real fairies. In fact, we know a lot about them. The page attached to this one is a photocopy from an old book we found in our attic. It isn't a great copy, because we had some trouble with the copier. The book tells people how to identify fairies and how to protect themselves. Can you please give this book to your publisher? If you can, please put the letter in this envelope and give it back to the store. We will find a way to send the book. The normal mail is too dangerous. We just want people to know about this. The stuff that has happened to us could happen to anyone. Sincerely, Mallory, Jared and Simon Grace. And we have a map of the Spiderwick estate and surrounding areas. Now, let's get the story, the Spiderwick Chronicles. Chapter 1, in which the Grace children get acquainted with their new home. If someone had asked Jared Grace what jobs his brother and sister would have when they grow up, he would have had trouble replying. He would have had no trouble replying. He would have said that his brother Simon would be either a veterinarian or a lion tamer. He would have said that his sister Mallory would either be an Olympic fencer or in jail for stabbing someone with a sword. But he wouldn't say what job he would grow up to have. Not that anyone had asked him. Not that anyone had asked his opinion on anything at all. The new house, for instance. Jared Grace looked up at it and squinted. Maybe it looked better blurry. It's a shack, said Mallory, getting out of the station wagon. It wasn't really, though. It was more like a dozen shacks had been piled on top of one another. There were several chimneys smiling. "Only crappier," said Mallory. Their mother sighed but didn't otherwise respond. The hallway led into a dining room. A long table with faded water spots was the only piece of furniture. The plaster ceiling was cracked in places, and a chandelier hung from frayed wires. "Why don't you three start bringing things in from the car?" their mother said. "Into here?" Jared asked. "Yes, into here." Their mother put down her suitcase on the table, ignoring the eruption of dust. "If your great aunt Lucinda hadn't let us stay, I don't know where we would have gone. We should be grateful." None of them said anything. Try as he might, Jared didn't feel anything close to grateful. Ever since their dad had moved home, everything had gone bad. He'd messed up at school, and the fading bruise over his left eye wouldn't let him forget it. But this place was the worst yet. "Jared," his mother said as he turned to follow Simon out to unload the car. "What?" His mother waited until the other two were down the hall before she spoke. "This is a chance to start over. For all of us, okay?" Jared nodded grudgingly. He didn't need her to say the rest of it, that the only reason he hadn't got kicked out of school was because they were moving anyway. Another reason he was supposed to be grateful. Only he wasn't. Outside, Mallory had stacked 2 suitcases on top of a steamer trunk. "I heard she's starving herself to death." "Aunt Lucinda, she's just old," said Simon. "Old and crazy." But Mallory shook her head. "I heard Mum on the phone. She was telling Uncle Terence that Aunt Lucy thinks little men bring her food." "What do you expect? She's in a nut house," said Jared. Mallory went on like she hadn't heard him. "She told the doctors that the food she got was better than anything they'd ever tasted." "You're making that up." Simon called into the back seat and opened one of the suitcases. Mallory shrugged. "If she dies, this place is going to get inherited by someone, and we're going to have to move again." "Maybe we can go back to the city," Jared said. "Fat chance," said Simon. He took out a wad of tube socks. "Oh no, Jeffrey and Lemon Drop chewed their way loose." "Mum told you not to bring the mice," Mallory said. "She said you have normal animals now." "If I let them go, they get stuck in a glue trap or something," said Simon, turning his sock inside out, one finger sticking out a hole. "Besides, you bought all your fencing junk." "It's not junk," Mallory growled, "and it's not alive." "Shut up." Jared took a step toward his sister. "Just because you've got one black eye doesn't mean I can't give you another one." Mallory flipped her ponytail as she turned towards him. She shoved a heavy suitcase into his hands. "Go ahead and carry that if you're so tough." Even though Jared knew he might be bigger and stronger than her someday, when she wasn't 13 and he wasn't 9, it was hard to picture. Jared managed to lock the suitcase inside the door before he dropped it. He figured he could track the rest of the way if he had to, and no one would be the wiser. Alone in the hallway of the house, however, Jared no longer remembered how to get to the dining room. 2 different hallways split off this one, winding deep into the middle of the house. "Mum!" Although he meant to call out loudly, his voice sounded very soft, even to himself. No answer. He took a tentative step and then another until the creak of a board under his feet stopped him. Just as he paused, something inside the wall rustled. He could hear it scrabbling upward until the sound disappeared past the ceiling. His heart beat hard against his chest. "It's probably just a squirrel," he told himself. After all, the house looked like it was falling apart. Anything could be living inside. They'd be lucky if there wasn't a bear in the basement and birds in all the heating ducts. That was, if the place even had heat. "Mum," he said again, even more faintly. Then the door behind him opened, and Simon came in carrying mason jars with 2 bug-eyed grey mice in them. Mallory was right behind him, scowling. "I heard something," Jared said. "In the wall." "What?" Simon asked. "I don't know." Jared didn't want to admit that for a moment he thought it was a ghost. Probably a squirrel." Simon looked at the wall with interest. Brocaded gold wallpaper hung limply, peeling and pockling in places. "You think so? In the house? I always this video, please click like and remember to subscribe, and then you'll